Today I'm sharing the top 5 strategic and calculated moves that will dazzle admissions committees and help you secure a spot at your dream law school. Hi, I'm John McCarty, founder of Odyssey Test Prep. So number 5, the first thing you want to be thinking is your strategic letters of recommendation. This is one aspect of the application that you do not have full control of. Everything else you're going to be writing, you're going to be preparing for, you'll be doing on your own with the help of professionals and other people who have your best interest in mind. But the letters of recommendation, you give those off, you send off the forms to your recommenders, and then they write those up and send them into the LSAT, and then you send those out to law schools from there. You want to make sure you're early with this. You really don't want to be waiting around for those letters of rec, and the professors get busy, especially in the fall. They're writing a ton of these things, but to be really strategic with who you ask. So it's not all about who is the best title or the most prestigious position. You really want to focus on people who know you best. So who know your work ethic, who know your leadership skills, who know your intellect, and who can speak to those things through their letter of recommendation in a very personal way. So if you don't have any professors, and they do prefer professors as that starting point for those letters of rec, usually you need 2 to 4 depending on the school that you're applying to. But start to build those relationships. Go to office hours, talk to your professors, stay after class, come early, ask questions, and make sure you crush that class so that you can get that really stellar letter of recommendation from that professor. Number 4 is building a stellar resume. I think the resume is kind of the glue that holds everything else together. So you're telling the story through the various pieces of your application. If they then go and look at your resume, and your resume is a ton of experience in something and other things, your personal statement says you want to go into human rights law, but your resume is all, big law internships or something similar. Those things just don't add up. So you want to tell this cohesive story. If it is human rights law that you want to go into, then intern at human rights law firms or do something in that space that is going to stand out to the admissions committee as being cohesive. All right, this piece matches, this piece matches, this piece matches. I get who this person is. It seems like a story, and you're using that to kind of glue everything else together. Number 3, crafting a compelling personal statement. So the personal statement is your chance to shine. This thing needs to be the best piece of writing you've ever done. The stakes are high, so this is not you sending in your first draft of the first thing that comes to mind. You want to brainstorm what your angle should be, how this is going to play into the bigger aspect of your application as a whole. Again, each piece telling a part of the story, and the personal statement's the biggest part of that story. You get to tell the committee everything about you, about your passion for the law, why you want to enter into the legal field, or really you can come at it from a lot of different angles. So be creative, take some time. It's not something you should write in an evening. This may take you a few weeks. Some people spend even longer than that putting together their perfect personal statement. You got to edit it. You need professionals editing it, friends editing it. You want this thing to be polished. It still needs to be your voice. It still needs to be you, but you don't want to have a comma splice here or run-on sentences and things like that. So definitely have people coming in to guide you and help you see some of the things that you can't see after reading it 15 times. You're kind of desensitized to some of the maybe grammatical errors that are there. Number 2, building a strong GPA. So this is something that you want to be doing from the jump, freshman year. If you haven't started that early, it's time to start now if you're still in school. If you're not, unfortunately, it's that undergraduate GPA that really counts in the admissions decision. So going back and getting a master's doesn't really change that equation. It can show the admissions committee that you've done something since then, but really if law is what you want to do, don't go spend 2 years doing something else. So build that strong GPA from the beginning. If you have 2 years of a bad GPA, it's hard to pull that up in the last 2 years. So try to get it as early as you can, building that. It is typically the second biggest piece of your acceptance decision is based on that GPA for most schools. So you want that to be really as good as possible. And like really competitive schools, we're talking 3.9. Let's get to that as close to that 4.0 as we can possibly get. Law school is becoming more and more competitive. So you need to have really competitive numbers depending on the schools that you want to go to. And then the top advice that I have for really just dazzling the admissions committee is just acing the LSAT. Crush the LSAT. Put a ton of effort into that exam. That is not like a 3-week process where you just study and go take it, or you take it on a whim or any of that. This is typically the single biggest piece of the application. A lot of people believe that one LSAT point is worth $10,000 in scholarship money for a single LSAT point. So really take the time important to think about that financial decision, the schools you'll get into, the networks that you'll build, the opportunities that you'll have coming out of law school will all vary depending on that LSAT score that you get. So make sure that that is super strong. Those are the top 5 things. Let me know if you have something else that you think is super important that a lot of people overlook. Throw something in the comments. I'm John McCarty. We'll see you next time.